From an early age, I've searched for mystery, for the magic, for that hidden wisdom, that arcane lore and knowledge that we're promised is out there. We've created sacred spaces, sacred camps, rituals, retreats, journeyed to many, many places. And in the 30 plus, 35 plus years now, actually thinking about it, if I'm honest, that I've been doing that, it's been amazing. Don't get me wrong. I love that adventure, that going on a journey, going to find that or creating that space. I've brought, if I'm not doing it in the real world, I've been doing it in my mind through my reading and my studies. And, we've all done that thing where there's a book and you really want to get that book and suddenly you discover that it's no longer in print. And now whatever it tells you must be more sacred and more special. It must hold the secrets of the universe because it's, um, it's so rare. And therefore you have to have it. So you spend 80 quid on a book. It turns up and you realize that it doesn't tell you anything different than the £5 book you got from the charity shop. And this is the problem. It's not a problem. It's something we discover actually as we go along. Certainly something I've discovered as I've gone along, is that magic, those real experiences often happen within the ordinary. There's that idea of bringing heaven down into earth. I don't think heaven ever was really that far away. I don't think the divine was ever that far away. I remember once I'd been told about a sacred site. It was a well, and a lot of people have been, oh, you got to go and see this well. You got to go see this place. Oh, it's so magical. It's so sacred. The veil is thin there. The energies are wow. And so I was like, okay. So it was quite a trek. So planned it as a weekend thing, tent in the back of the car, and off I went. Drove for several hours. Had some very dodgy, loose instructions. I think whoever wrote them hated people. Anyway, I parked up somewhere. It turns out I was probably about 8 miles in the wrong place. How I found the place in the end, I don't know. So I trekked off and I'm going this way, and I've got kind of, it was in the early days of kind of sat navs on phones, so I could roughly get an idea of where I was on a map. And it was an adventure. I loved it. I love that kind of thing. And I trekked off and I was down hills and up over valleys and rocks and cliffs and stone walls. And I'm sure I probably almost possibly risked getting shot by a farmer because there was one bit of land I definitely felt I probably shouldn't have been walking across. I mean, always respectful whenever I walk across, stick to the edges to cause no damage. But still, if I could just see it now, this farmer turning up with his shotgun and going, "What are you doing on my land?" And I go, "Well, I'm on a spiritual quest to find this holy and sacred site." I'm not thinking it would have probably been kind of received too well. So eventually, after several hours of walking, it was a long day. I finally realized I found the field. I found the spot where this well is. So I stood at the edge and I could kind of roughly kind of had an idea of where I was going now. So I stood at the edge, took a deep breath in, offered a little blessing and prayer to the spirits of place, and ventured off on the last part, the reward, that amazing magical moment. And I approached this ancient and sacred well. I stood there. I gazed upon it, looked around the field, looked at the view, to the sky, looked back down upon this sacred ancient site. And my thoughts went something like this. It's just a puddle. It's just, it literally, it was a muddy puddle in a field. Don't get me wrong. Apparently it's a very sacred muddy puddle, very ancient muddy puddle, very special, historically, magically, spiritually, but still a muddy puddle. don't get me wrong, I'd gained a lot from that journey from getting there. But the reality was it was an ordinary muddy puddle in a field. That was it. Um, so I traipsed my way back, almost dark by this time. I hadn't managed to find anywhere to camp over, which was annoying. Um, but got back to the car eventually, drove a bit, found a campsite I was able to book on, and they had a bit of a late night cafe thing, and I was sat there with a when I say cafe, it was like stepping back in time. Even then, we're talking like 90s. Um, it was like stepping back to the 60s, this cafe. And I'm pretty sure the cakes, on the menu hadn't changed since then. And the tea was, well, I think it was tea. Anyway, and I sat there and I reflected on the day, on the adventure, because it was, don't get me wrong, like I say, I thoroughly enjoyed the day, but the destination was so ordinary and whatever. But I'm sat there, and all of a sudden, I just become aware the moon's coming out from behind a cloud. A beautiful silvering. I always used to call it a hammer. Well, I still do. Hammer horror sky, where the clouds are moving quite quickly across the sky. You got a nice big full moon, and or as close as, and it illuminates from behind. It's always, and in that moment, everything shifted. My awareness expanded. I expanded. My head was in the clouds as the moon was closer and closer to me. I felt as though I encompassed the whole of the earth. And the people about me, people at the campsite, it was almost like they were moving within me. And there was such a grace, such a beauty, such a sense of presence. Like the barrier of me had dissolved, and what was left was just the pure bliss of being alive. In a grotty cafe, on a campsite, drinking crap tea. It wasn't nice tea. The cafe, the campsite was more magical than that sacred site. And so that planted a seed of thought because I realized, much to my reluctance, that there were many other ordinary moments where I actually experienced that truly magical experience, that mystical, magical experience, so much more than visiting the sacred sites. I remember doing Stonehenge summer solstice ritual, private access, about, well, say about 80 druids. That's probably more than there was, to be honest. Probably a coach load. 52 bunch of druids. And going in there, and it's like, it's nice. It's nice. I'm stood at 5 o'clock in the morning with the sun coming up in Stonehenge. Yeah. And yet, embarrassingly, I had a moment once in a supermarket which almost moved me to tears because of its profundity. All from looking at a packet of custard creams. I'm not even going to go there with. I'm not going to tell you that one, not this time. But as my journey's gone on, realize that those most transcendent and magical of moments where insight and wisdom and experience is gained, those moments when I've sensed the gods. Yeah, don't get me wrong, there have been some amazingly powerful moments in ritual and in meditation, but we shouldn't be seeking and pursuing those moments as the product. Yeah. Um, I remember early on in my journeys, there was over the back from where we live some fields, and there was a you get them all over, but in Shropshire they're quite common. You get these sinkholes, little remnants of pockets of the ice age, which then get surrounded by trees. And there was one that was all dried up, and I used to go down there and use it as a kind of, well, it was my magical practicing space. It's the tree circle's still there. It's surrounded by a housing estate now. Um, but I remember being there and doing a ritual, and oh, I- wow, to this day, actually, I was quite young. I was 16, I think, 16, 15, 16. I'd been there, I'd done this ritual, and if I remember right, it was calling on Pan or some sort of sensible thing that you do when you're 15. Something something I probably shouldn't have been doing at that point. Um, and I remember doing this ritual and some evocations and doing some stuff, and then looking out across this field to there's this big mound in the background with trees all stuff over it like a woodland, and suddenly it was like the veil thinned and there was a haze. And although I couldn't see anything, there was this sense of something vast and immense journeying towards me, traveling towards me, um, getting closer and closer. It was big, and the bigger, closer it got, the bigger it seemed. And doing as every well-trained 15-year-old young magician does, I bricked it. I was freaked the hell out. And so I closed my magical circle as quickly as I possibly could, and I ran. I ran home. I don't think I ever actually went back to that spot to use it again. Um, yeah, that was, but I've had more moments like that in ordinary places, in ordinary moments, where things have taken on that extra dimension, that magical, entered into that twilight. Yeats, I think he talks about Celtic twilight, and experiencing the other in those moments, discovering that, bus stops, chip shops, supermarkets, car parks. Oh my God. I remember going to a conference the once, and it was all right. It'd been quite amusing. One of the speakers had single-handedly managed to destroy the projector they were using, knocking it off the stage and stuff. So it had its moments. And if ever that person is watching this, they'll know who they are. Um, I loved the talk, by the way. Still one of my favourites. Um, it was just the comedy bit at the beginning that was great as well. Um, and no, don't ask me who it is in the comments because I'm not going to tell you. Uh, but I remember stepping out of a car, out of a hotel where this conference was in Telford, in the middle of Telford, into a car park, and suddenly being hit by a moment of I had tears streaming down my face. It was a moment of absolute joy and bliss. An amazing moment where I connected with something so much bigger, so much more. And the experience was so pure and beautiful. I had tears of joy streaming down. I remember my partner at the time was like, "Oh my God, you're right. What's up?" And I was just like, "It's all so beautiful. It's all so beautiful." I was in a car park in Telford. you know, in the further you go into the mystery traditions, whether it's mysticism or magic, more and more it stops focusing on the divine or magic or energy being out there, and the more it brings you down to here and here. You know, heaven brought down to earth. I don't think, genuinely don't think, that there was ever a separation other than the one that maybe our egos and now our world that reflects our egos has created. All the magic that ever was, is, and will be is here now. The divine is not some far off distant entity that you summon and call at your will. What a nonsense. Oh, what a nonsense to think that our gods are sitting around waiting because they need us to call upon them. And magic, just like the car park, I was going for a bite to eat. That's why I was in a car park. I was going to go for a walk, find something to eat, and come back. Magic doesn't keep office hours. Magic doesn't just show up when we go, right, let's do some magic, let's create this space. In fact, from most of the people I've ever known or spoken to, a lot of the time, that's the one time magic least shows up. Magic is its own thing. It teaches, it guides. It's not, we as human beings are very good at going, here's a technology, how can I use it? Look at the trouble that's caused the world. But actually, not only is magic there in the ordinary, but it's there to lead and guide us. And I believe that wherever it takes us is a good place. I don't think it's an energy like electricity. And I don't think it keeps off its hours. Magic can show up anywhere. Magic can show up everywhere. And it's there now. It's here now as I'm talking to you. And you may begin to become aware of it as you begin to think about these things and notice that even more now. But the world doesn't change. Reality doesn't change. True reality doesn't change. Magic shows us how to change, how to transform through very simple things like awareness, stillness, through listening and observing. These are truly magical gifts. But guess what? We live in a world of mobile phones and technology. Not that I have a problem with that. I've said that before. I like technology. It allows me to do this. But it needs balancing. It needs balancing. The danger is we spend all our time looking at magical memes and magical reels and shorts and videos and talks, and maybe if you're a bit old school like me, reading lots and lots of magical books. And we go out and visit these places looking for magic. We are searching for secrets and magic rather than inviting that direct experience of magic into our lives. When I used to be very active with the whole Druidry thing and run retreats and talks and workshops and all that stuff, I always used to say that knowledge is only one part of it. And it's only when you put that stuff that you've searched for into practice that you then gain the experience. And when knowledge and experience come together, that is where you find wisdom. But the secret of secrets is there is no secret. It's all here now. I guess if you wanted a secret, it's not secret. It's learn how to see it. The Taoism talks about the Tao and going with the flow of the Tao. Magic is the same thing. Learn to sense, to see, to feel, however you do that. Magic in the everyday. Magic in the putting the bins out. Magic in the walking down the street. I live in a high street. And trust me, when you watch and observe in a high street, the magic you see, those magical rules and laws, those magical ways all play out. It's all there. It's all there in life. The biggest con ever is we were told it was secret. Why? Because it means people can start little clubs and they can keep their little clubs and their arcane secrets and make it for the in crowd. Makes them feel special. Just look for magic in the ordinary and you will feel special because you'll know you're part of it. You're not separate from it. The magical path brings us back to life. It should never distance us. It should never take us away from it. It should never make us escape. It should never be an escapism. If magic is escaping you from the shit you have to deal with, then you are not following a magical path. You are following a glamour path, an enchanted glamour path that goes, oh, look at the sparkly things. If I go after those and those secrets, oh, and buy these things, then my life's better. No, your life is better by realizing the magic is here and now, and by working with it and stepping into it and letting it lead you and guide you, your life can be transformed. Magic was never hidden. Never hidden. Would I change all that searching and looking and seeking for it? No, it's part of the journey. But the deeper you go, you realize magic is here, life is here, now is here. Don't let the world distract you. Open your eyes, open your ears, open your heart and listen to the magic in the world, because the world has not become unenchanted, disenchanted. We have forgotten how to see it. Change the way you think about the world, change the way you show up to the world, and the world will respond. Not because you're changing the world, but because you are now seeing the world in a different way. So my invitation is, whether it's today, after listening to this, whether it's in a couple of days' time or maybe in a week's time, that you begin to discover just how magic you can see in the ordinary. I don't know, but when you do discover how much magic you can see in the ordinary, I wonder how deep, how much more deeper you can go into it, and how much more alive that will make you feel. Anyway, this has been the Saturday Grove. It's been a joy sharing this with you. I'm Rob, as always. I always forget that bit. It's not important. I'm just me. Uh, Listen, subscribe. If you're enjoying this, subscribe. If you made it to the end, subscribe, share it, tell people about it if you're enjoying it. Um, and, I'm not saying you have to agree with all this. I'm sharing my thoughts and feelings from my journey. And I know I'm not doing the whole glamour thing. Oh, look at me, I'm all witchy or anything like that. There's no need. There's no need. Um, all I'm going to say is much love, many blessings. And I'll see you next week for the Saturday Grove. Take care. Bye bye.